Welcome to the Armwood Opinion channel. I haven't been on in quite a while, and the main reason is that I really didn't want to repeat myself on so many of the issues that have been troubling the United States this past year. And we are right now a few days short of the inauguration anniversary of Joseph Biden. And I had predicted right from the beginning that I didn't think that Joe Biden was the right person for the job, that he had a very bad history on issues of racial justice. In fact, he'd opposed them through most of his career. Second, that he wasn't a very bright man, he wasn't that intelligent, and that this job was way above his head. It's turned out to be true. The biggest issue after his inauguration was the move by the Republican Party across the country to limit voting rights. And I've talked about this. What has Biden done about it? Basically nothing. 2 speeches, but no action taken. In fact, his first legislative priority, instead of using his common sense and looking toward 2022 and 2024 and focusing on the states around the country that were trying to limit voting rights, 38, and getting national voting rights legislations, he tried an economic agenda for, primarily for working class Americans, which failed because he couldn't handle the body that he used to be in, the Senate. Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, 2 senators, refused to play ball, and he had no idea, and to this day has no idea how to handle them. In knowing how important voting rights is, not just for Black and Latino Americans and Native Americans, but for the Democratic Party as a whole, because Black Americans are the Democratic Party's base. White people voted for Trump. Remember that. He put us on the back burner. Typical Joe Biden. And as a result, there was no momentum built up for the 2 voting rights bills that Nancy Pelosi had gotten passed in the House. The one bill which gave us back the provisions of the Voting Rights Act that was stripped by Republican conservative Supreme Court justices led by Alito, the pre-clearance provision, the 4th chapter of the Voting Rights Act. We needed that back, and we needed universal standards for voting around the country in federal elections. But unfortunately, Biden didn't think that was too important. He acted like he's done many things. Oh, that's a black issue. We can put that on the back burner. Just because he nominated Kamala Harris as a vice president, that was symbolic and also political. It helped him get elected. But that did not change his policies. And his policies have always been redneck policies. Now, I hear some of you say, well, President Obama picked him. President Obama picked him because he needed a dumb redneck on his ticket to appeal to working class white voters. As he said, it was reported that he said, Tom Kaine of Virginia was the choice of his heart. But politically, Biden was a better choice for him. And that's why he chose Biden. That choice does not make Biden a good man just because Obama picked him. And as president, we've seen how weak, incompetent, and inept Biden has become. What can we do about it now? Put tremendous pressure on him. I am so proud to be a Georgian because last week when he came to give his belated speech on voting rights, the top African American leaders, including NAACP, gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams, and so many others, did not show up purposefully to show Biden our displeasure with how he has behaved. And we're the ones that gave the Democrats the Senate by electing Senators Warnock and Ossoff last January 5th. We gave the state of Georgia to Joe Biden. He owes us. But as a typical redneck, he doesn't think that he does. He's a thug. Old school thug. That's all Joe Biden is an old man thug. And if you don't believe me, back in 1975, the director of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and I remember this, Jack Greenberg, took Biden to task for sponsoring a bill that would limit the power of the courts to order school desegregation with busing. That was an attempt by the NAACP and other black organizations to end institutional racism, structural racism. I was part of the busing project. I'm older. I was bused in 1961 and 1962. Biden didn't get into office until a decade later. But there was a huge crisis in cities around the country over busing. Black kids were getting beaten by white parents, just like I was. I was spat on, beaten by kids, called the N-word repeatedly, teachers refusing to let me participate in class elections, all of those things. I have done a YouTube video on a whole series of 3 on the integration of New York City schools. Biden was our enemy. Biden was our enemy. And anyone who thought Biden was going to be our friend as president, in my view, is a fool. And I told many people that. Biden is not a friend of black people. He's not a friend of Hispanic people. He's an opportunist who couldn't get to office without racist Donald Trump being there. He was the lesser of 2 evils. He was not a good. We have to get rid of Trump. Let's be clear about it. This is politics. But right now, we need to mobilize corporate pressure on Christian Cinema, corporate pressure on Manchin. Call out their donors. Show who they are. Manchin supports companies that have exploited working class people. His daughter oversaw the raising of the EpiPen for people with diabetes to $600. Manchin is in bed with the coal companies that are polluting America and not taking care of their workers. We have to emphasize those issues and make sure that they feel that pressure to break the filibuster and make an exception for voting rights. If they can do it for budget reconciliation, they can do it for voting rights. If they can make set an exception for judicial nominations, they can do it for voting rights. American democracy is short-lived. America has only been a democracy for 60 years. A lot of people don't realize that. America did not become a democracy until 1965, actually after that, after the passing of the Voting Rights Act. Right now, Republicans are taking our voting rights away. We cannot be stupid. We cannot remain silent. We cannot allow Joseph Biden to take away our rights by his inaction. Remember, resistance is futile. It is something that we cannot accept. We cannot accept what the Borg said in Star Trek, that resistance is futile. We have to say resistance is not futile. And I implore you to call your senators, your congressmen, and have them put pressure on Biden, Harris, Christian Sinema, and Joe Manchin. Any dirt that you can find out on Joe Manchin, we need to put up. We need to see posters of his condescending stand on the back of a yacht while opposing food programs for poor families. He opposed continuation of the aid to families with children while he stands on the back of his yacht. This is a really bad man, Joe Manchin. He's evil. And we've got to put spikes under Biden's foot and his derriere so we get the voting rights laws passed by any means necessary. The Republicans have been engaged in an ongoing coup d'etat, starting in January 6th in Washington, and it has been going on in state legislatures across the country, including right here in the state of Georgia. So we need to fight back. All right, hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the Armed with Opinion channel, and it looks like I'm back in the fight. I took a while off, but I'm back in the fight. Have a good day.